friends. This is Andrew Phipps, and welcome to our Faith, Family, and Freedom program. I hope that you can be with us for the entire broadcast time, and it's always a special delight to have you on board with us. Today we will be exploring at least some of the principles that I believe that made America great. The struggle to keep a free republic is always an ongoing process. One might think that experience indeed would dictate that governments long established would not be changed for light and transient causes, so said the authors in the first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence. But change seemingly is always in the air. The proverbial grass appears greener on the other side of the fence, seemingly always has its peculiar luster. But change for change's sake is not good. Common sense would dictate that there are principles which are basic, eternal, and that these principles are there for the common good, regardless of the time, the place, or the circumstances. America has embraced and has been recognized for what made America great in the first place. First, we believed in the dignity of life. It was part of our Judeo ethic and reaffirmed in the Christian ethic. Life is created by God. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Life was not to be taken only in the most severe violations of the laws of God and man. It certainly was not to be destroyed in the womb and at the moment of conception. Even animals, their nature is they will attack with deadly force when one messes with their young and offspring. And I believe this is a principle that needs to be reiterated and reaffirmed today. I think we have taken the slippery slope when we demean the value of life. It's unfortunate that so many today, even in positions of power, have basically advocated that life is meaningless, that choice means that the baby can be terminated, can be killed in the womb. I think that has been one of the most deadly decisions. Some authorities have said it may have been one of the most deadly decisions ever made by the Supreme Court when in 1973, in the infamous case of Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court basically gave consent to this horrible and horrendous practice of killing babies. We can call it a woman's right to choose, but the end result is you destroy life. You take the life of the baby. I think that principle was supposed to be honored. When Thomas Jefferson and the others wrote that in the Declaration, they gave it first priority. They said that the rights of life, liberty, and he had actually said property. Later he changed it to the pursuit of happiness, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that these were inalienable, unalienable, not foreign to us, that we were born with them, that we were given these rights by the Creator. We didn't have to earn them. We didn't have to try to merit them. We didn't have to try to show proof that we ought to be entitled to them. They are rights, God-given rights. And we'll be following up on some other great principles in just a moment. Thanks again for rejoining us here. In continuing with some principles that made us great as a nation. I think a second principle would be the principle of the traditional monogamous marriage. In other words, the family, a man and a woman dedicating to each other that their lives are to be one. This was ordained in the eyes of God. Not a man and an animal, nor man with another man, and so on. You can read for yourself what the Apostle Paul wrote in the first chapter of the book of Romans. I think when we have destroyed the idea of marriage, or that marriage is superfluous, or that when we decided that in decisions like no-fault divorce and made divorcing much easier and perhaps more palatable to those that would pursue that, I think also we have given our assent to the idea that maybe marriage is just a relationship. The first miracle that the Lord Jesus Christ ever performed in turning the water to wine was at the marriage in Cana. God ordained marriage. He said that a man would leave his father and mother, and that they would be joined to his wife, and that they would no longer be twain, but one flesh. I believe this is also emblematic of Christ and the church. He said, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. I think when marriage gets to the point that maybe we don't even recognize it as a basic institution, I believe the horrendous effects of that decision-making will prove cataclysmic in terms that there will be no solidarity in that home situation. Children will be raised basically with little identity. There will not be the love. It'll not be biblically ordained, and that is a very serious path to pursue. I pray that we strengthen our families. I don't think we need more villages to raise children. I understand the concept, but we need parents. We need a dad and a mother in the home rearing their children in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. I think this is just basic. To me, it's just common sense, but more importantly, it is biblical. I believe that a man is to be responsible. He's the protector of the family. He's supposed to earn a living. He's supposed to provide for his family. I think the mother is also to help rear the children. She's the heart, as it were, of the family. And I thank God that for a good mother and a good dad. But I also want to tell you that in these principles, we also take a look at common decency. A third principle, the gross and vile language of today, barnyard talk by even talk show hosts and others in high places, give assent to the degradation of the culture where anything and everything goes. It is no wonder our young people have become desensitized to accepting the most bizarre behavior. Crude displays of what was once considered offensive has allowed this generation to develop a hunger for perversion. Yes, perversion. Nudity, profanity, and sexual promiscuity reign. Sick comedians who go to the gutter with their shock treatment, glorifying role models that appeal to the worst in us, violent video games, movies that take you to the garbage can, demeaning women, and especially anything Christian have become the norm rather than the exception. Hollywood throws all constraints out the windows, but Gideons have been forbidden to pass out Bibles on school campuses. Isn't it ironic that Bibles are permitted to be given to prisoners in prison? However, maybe if this were reversed, we might not have so many in the prison system. But on the other hand, common sense seems to be out of vogue or out of style today. We'll continue in just a few moments. And we do appreciate Clemens Home Solutions in Muncie, Indiana, for helping us with this outreach. I want you also to realize that Clemens Home Solutions, they are wonderful Christian people, great friends, and they believe in what we all believe in, that's relative to God and country. They're very patriotic. First of all, they're Christians, and I thank them for that. And I believe that you can help us a great deal by telling others about this program. If you're in an area where that maybe we might get into the local television market, that would be wonderful. We're also available on YouTube. Just go to our name, or Faith, Family, and Freedom, or WHMB. And I believe those indicators there will help you to arrive at the YouTube. We were just talking about how that so much that has been out of vogue maybe today, what we used to embrace as wonderful. You know, the academicians, in my opinion, started reading their own newspapers, and it has even gone further to where the media and the big tech corporations are in collusion as to how to cover up the facts for their own narratives and agendas. And what a narrative it has become. America, to them, is responsible for all that is wrong in the world. We are the creators of all the oppressed, according to this dictation. We are selfish beyond belief. Our economic system, free enterprise, has kept people oppressed, which brings us up to another great principle, the work ethic. The dignity of work is as old as our country itself. Captain John Smith is recognized for reminding the colonials at Jamestown in the winter of 1607, he said, our first settlement, that it was that if one did not work, he should not eat. The Apostle Paul reaffirmed this principle of working and taking care of our families in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 10. He went so far as to say that if a person neglected his family, that he was worse than an infidel. The critics of those principles who say they wish to have a common or a distribution of wealth, only they want to redistribute your wealth, not their own. They attack our system by criticizing the values, by stating without even blushing that we have not allowed for individuals to have the same outcomes. We have not guaranteed wealth for all and have allowed for an unequal distribution of wealth. According to their prognostications, we are responsible for those not wanting to work and creating goods and services to not have what everyone that does work is having. On and on, the diatribe against what the greatest country in the world has achieved, to be labeled the oppressor, and that more government is the solution. What a paradox. Yet we have thousands of people trying to get into this country. For example, we see the protesters, the demonstrators in Havana, Cuba, that are protesting for freedom. Freedom is a universal goal and desire. It's innate. People want freedom. I mean, it's already been established how that when you have people afraid of the government, you have tyranny. when we have authoritarian governments, controlled governments, when you have people that do not allow basic free speech and press and on, they are the ones that want to mandate. They're the ones that control what you and I are to think and what we can achieve and what we contribute. For example, these people that are risking their lives, coming illegally, by the way, they come to a place where all of the supposed inequities exist. The people living here in the United States are not trying to get out, as far as I know, but the folks who put themselves and their families in great harm, paying huge sums to drug cartels for just a chance to get into our country, getting into a country that so many in our own country are now scorning. Who would have believed it? Yet even among so many, unfortunately, in our own great country, are buying into the scenario that we need a socialistic economic system that borders communism, where the state is all in all, and one that has great powers to determine what is produced, how much will produce, and how that the government will decide as to who gets what. I believe it's been said you can own a bull and a rooster, but don't look for any milk and eggs to be on the breakfast plate. Pure foolishness has now become embraced by the progressives and liberals to the extent that it seems obnoxious for those of us who have a few years behind us to even be discussing it. And we'll continue with these thoughts in just a few moments. And again, thank you for joining us today. We hope that you will help us advertise Faith, Family, and Freedom. We want to be able to reach as many people as possible, whether it's through television, radio, tracts. We have those available that we send or give to churches, and we're trying to work diligently to make a difference. And I believe that you and I will agree that we all can make a difference. In following up with the commentary that we were talking about there, where that so many want to scorn our system and they want to denigrate the achievements, I think it was Thomas Edison, the great inventor, remarked. He said this: "There is no substitute for hard work." Although this genius had hundreds of wonderful inventions to his credit that impacted all of us, all mankind, in so many positive ways, acknowledge this. Mr. Edison said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." Milton Friedman, a great economist, when it comes to the interchangeability of freedom, he said the freedom to have and to make choices, and possibly one of the greatest professors of his day also remarked, economic freedom is also an indispensable means toward the achievement of political freedom. Think about it. When one doesn't have economic freedom, how would you have political freedom? How can you have the freedom to choose political leaders, but be denied the liberty to choose what you wish to buy and sell? If an individual cannot choose what he wishes to pursue, what work he wishes to perform, and even if he intends to work any at all, and what choices are available for him to make in the marketplace, how could he really be free? The answer is he wouldn't be free. That's why we call it free enterprise. You, the consumer, or the owner, the voter, You decide in your choices when you select your toothpaste or you select whatever it is, your sofa, your automobile, your insurance company. When you decide what you want to get in the marketplace, you have the right even to start a business. Assume the risk, but have the ownership and all that comes with it, the profits and the social benefits. If you fail, you get up, dust the dirt off your britches, and start again. It is not the government's function to dictate what are your outcomes. It is none of their business what hours you keep, the prices you charge, and what the products are that you make. That, of course, being understood by common sense that these are deemed to be lawful products and services. So, in our conclusion today, it's been wonderful, but we want to continue in our next editions of further elaboration by taking a look at what we believe are the contrasts between free choice making and control. That's what you have when the government controls what you do and your opportunities. I don't like that. I want freedom. I want political freedom. I want economic freedom. I want the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. I hope that you'll be with us again at the very next special opportunity. But until then, this is your friend, Andrew Phipps, saying, may God bless you and yours.
Phipps, Faith, Family, and Freedom, presented by Clemens Home Solutions and Blue Gate Restaurant and Bakery, Heritage Funeral Care, Ashton Surveyors, Hillsdale Farm, Cardinal Exteriors Roofing Specialist, Dr. Jeff Hiltz, and Sam Pierce Chevrolet.